Sorry, what did you say?
You know the WhatsApp group we have?
Yes.
You can say something from there, that'd be nice.
Say something about what?
You know, something from there, whatever it is.
Oh.
It'd be nice because actually, you can maybe explain two things. One is Kirtan. We use the word Kirtan in here. It says that is the best Kirtan. You need to understand the state of mind for Kirtan. So, what is actually Kirtan? Maybe you can explain that, clarify that. And the other bit we can talk about is maybe Karma Yoga. A little bit.
Okay.
So, what is Kirtan according to our tradition?
Okay. Well, I'd like to hear first what Nitai has to say. How would you answer that question? Because you love Kirtan so much. So I'd like to hear what you say first. What is you're saying? What is Kirtan in our tradition? What is the significance of Kirtan? Okay.
And how, if somebody said define Kirtan?
Okay. Okay, you say. I'll speak after you. You say something first.
Oh God.
Let me help you. Is it just the music? Is it,
Well,
what is it?
it's okay. It's obviously it's music. When you look at it objectively, it is music. It's sound vibration, but it's not any old sound vibration or anything ordinary. It's transcendental. It's coming straight from the flute of Krishna, right?
Sure. Sounds good to me.
And
Sounds right.
and especially when we sing together, when lots of devotees sing together congregationally, just like Mahaprabhu he used to go out preaching and perform Sankirtan, perform Kirtan publicly with all his associates, then of course the Lord is there. This is Mahaprabhu, so it's not just gonna be like, oh yeah, Kirtan, but ultimately when the devotees come together, they attract the Lord. They attract the Lord's presence, and you can feel that. And especially if there are very exalted devotees in the room that we're fortunate to be witnessing. Doesn't need to be a room necessarily. It can be outside. It can be anywhere. It can be in a plane or a bus, or anywhere. Then, because those persons who are part of the, congregational chanting, as a group effort, if you will, not an effort, but more of like a calling out to the Lord in a submissive, humble way, and also, I'd say, in an affectionate way to call out for the Lord becomes attracted, and the Lord must come there, to that place. And then we feel that in our hearts. And, maybe it's a little drop of the infinite mercy that the Lord has, but it's enough to completely drown us and the whole world in its transcendental qualities. And there is actually no limit to how far Kirtan can go, because as we know, Srila Prabhupada's preaching still goes on today, doesn't it? And what did he start off with? Was some kartals, and it became a whole movement.
So can you do Kirtan alone?
That's a good point. I mean, practically you can. Practically, yes, you can, but don't know us. Practically, yes, you can. But it's best, in my opinion, and I think also the opinion of many Vaishnavas, and they always talk about this, that congregational chanting is the best. Otherwise, no one would show up for Harinam. Would just be like, oh, okay, let's just do this in the house, or let's do this in the cave by ourselves, under a tree or something. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be here, right? Why would we bother? Why would we even bother singing these songs together? We might as well stay home. So, when the devotees come together, we attract the Lord's presence by our, I don't want to say futile means, but our endeavor, sincere endeavor, is enough to attract his heart. And then he comes. And then as a side effect, we feel spiritually content in that moment. And that is what makes us keep going on, I suppose. And it's not only beneficial for us, the people who are trying to sing the Lord's names, but it's also beneficial for the whole atmosphere. The whole atmosphere benefits from it. And maybe he's walking past the temple and he hears some kirtan, and he's maybe not consciously, with us, or even taking part, but some benefit he's getting. The birds, the trees, everyone. Maybe even an ant coming under the door, anyone. And that's the beautiful thing about kirtan, is you don't need to necessarily be fully conscious about it. It has a very potent effect. It's like if you're sick and I say to you, oh, take this. This will make this is very good for you. And you're like, okay. And you keep taking it and you keep taking it. And you come back to me and you're like, well, I don't really think it's working and there's nothing happening to me. You might not see anything straight away. Okay, I don't experience anything. I'm not getting better. And then, the months go on. You keep taking it with faith, this medicine that the doctor gave you. And then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, it's working. My whole leprosy is gone. We don't see the effects of we might not see the effects of the holy name and what it does to us in our hearts. But it has a very potent effect and a long-lasting effect, actually. We might be at home and we forget the whole devotees for months on end, and we forget what we're supposed to be doing, but you could be in the middle of nowhere and you hear something about kirtan or something that reminds you about kirtan, and it instantly inspires you, and you feel like, oh yeah, this is so wonderful. You feel like for that moment, it's okay, it's not as bad. You can go on, life is beautiful, actually. It's not too bad, it's okay. It's for me, it really is the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, without kirtan, I would just be absolutely hopeless. I'd just be, I don't know what I'd be. It's my salvation. So, yeah, that, in my opinion, that's what I think what kirtan is. So, please forgive me if I am at all not explaiing something properly. I'm so sorry. I'm very ignorant.
No, that was beautiful. It was wonderful.
Don't know, it's true.
And I'd like Rohini Crew to say something too, because the question was about kirtan, and you're also very inspired by kirtan. So
what's the question, actually?
What does kirtan mean? What is kirtan, actually?
What is kirtan?
What is kirtan?
Oh gosh, yeah. You're asking to a non-academically speaking. No. Okay, what is kirtan? Such a difficult question, Didi. Okay.
Kirtan is your life and soul. I know. That's why he came here today.
Okay, I'm gonna do an example, like it's gonna sound a little bit harsh, but that's the reality, yeah. That's the really thing that is happens to me, yeah. So anyone can speak or think about someone in a spiritual ladder, yeah. But for me, it's only the kirtan from that person that gives me a reference in which position that person is.
Very nice. I like that.
Whatever they speak, whatever they wear,
Yeah.
whatever.
You're saying you can tell what quality of Vaishnav they are by the potency of their kirtan.
Well, kirtan is the only thing that makes me measure my spiritual inclination. Let's say, the reason I don't feel dragged to other spiritual practices is because there's nothing that I have tasted that is superior to what I have already tasted in the kirtan of whoever Vaishnava it has been. The kirtan is the same, is coming from the same plane, and then whenever that energy comes and then is being shared to us, then you already got a reference, yeah, of a spiritual taste. So then you can go anywhere and everywhere, and then you will find no enough satisfaction because you already have tried something that is really good.
You got the higher taste, so you can't settle for anything lower.
Yeah, exactly. So you can go into many other places, spiritual practices, and then you find actually you got already a measurement, like, okay, this is here, this is, you can actually start like grading these levels of spirituality, just thanks to that little bit that you got as a reference. So kirtan manifests in us accordingly to. That's a very interesting thing, What makes you download or be possessed by the kirtan energies and the amount in which you get either possessed or you are able to connect with that energy and being able to be a vehicle from that energy. It's a mystery, it's just like how it happens, why this person when chants the same syllab can sing it with that power or this energy or this particular essence, the one you are looking for, the one is coming from, the only one that you have tasted to be the only one and the finest or whatever so far, okay? I'm not saying I mean I might find something that is more beautiful. Why not? Yeah? But so far that's the most beautiful thing, yeah? So kirtan is actually a word that refers to the praying to the superior, the transcendental plane, isn't it? So kirtan exists in various levels because there are many different layers you can approach to Krishna in the transcendental abode. So you can see him as Narayan. We know these layers, all these different currents, and Muslims, they pray beautiful Sufi songs. These all are transcendental, and they are doing kirtan, they are praying to God. But there are layers of praying and different. So that particular, when I hear kirtan from Muslims, I feel spiritual. I feel something very, very beautiful as well. But I don't feel that like that interested in that particular kirtan, just because I find this kirtan to be more satisfying for the Vaishnav's kirtan, to be more satisfying for my particular taste. So kirtan is the essence of the spiritual practice I follow personally, because I'm not very attracted to the reading that much. I know I'm not attracted to too much to the many. I actually not attracted to anything else. Well, yeah, prashadam, yeah. Yeah, so at least there is a connection, and that connection is thanks to the kirtan, So kirtan, definitely, it is just the only sustain of my spiritual practice, and my reference point in the spiritual paths or reference. Yeah, it's my reference spiritual point.
No, what you said about it, because I got connected to this movement because of it. Because that change which happened to me while listening to it. So I know exactly where you're coming from, exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah, because sound is as subtle as the soul, so it's the only element that touches really your soul.
And it's hard to explain.
And then,
it's hard to explain.
And then if that element is carrying something that is, just connected with God, you can find the kirtan to be also satisfying in many other different spiritual practices. But anyways, that is what is kirtan for me.
That was beautiful, really nice. And one thing I appreciated in your approach was your openness. Like, we can get into this kind of like fanatic, dogmatic mentality. This is the only way, and there's nothing else. But it's like a kind of blind faith. But like what you said was so beautiful, and I'm like in my head I'm connecting like, oh, Gurudev has said that, Srila Maharaj has said that, like what you said about the Muslims kirtan, like Gurudev said, I like Allah so much, but I can't play football with Allah. Like my heart is satisfied by Krishna.
Yes.
I respect what the Muslims have to say, what they feel. That is, a level of truth. But my heart wants to go to Krishna, because I can play with Krishna. My heart's more satisfied by Krishna. And also what you said about, so far I haven't found anything better. The Srila, like some people might say that's sacrilegious. but there might be something higher. But I've heard Srila Sridhar say exactly the same thing. He was talking about the line of the Rupanugas and how like it's been identified like a place in the camp of Lalita, this is the highest, like along these lines. Then he says, and so far nothing higher has been discovered. Like that, like we're open. Like
exactly.
Someone can show me something
exact.
better. I'm not like just rigidly, blindly sticking to this. If you can show me something and prove to me it's superior, I can accept it. But so far nothing better has been found.
Exact. Yeah.
It's quite sincere.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's esoteric in some ways, because it's just you can't explain that experience. A lot of people ask me, and I say, look, just attend the Kirtan. Don't read the books, don't do it, just attend the Kirtan with an open mind. So yes.
Well, Dear Chandra is also very passionate about Kirtan, so we want to hear something from him. The question is, what is Kirtan? And you can speak on a personal level or a synaptic approach, whatever you feel. I disagree.
Well, the only thing that popped into my mind is nothing personal, but I thought...
Can you speak a little more loud?
Yeah, sure. Kirtan means a fight. That's what I was just... something that came into my mind as I was hearing all of that.
A fight.
A fight, yeah. It's not my reference, it's Bhakti reference. He said Kirtan means... But that was his personal take on it, to establish his conception over all other conceptions. But
Very interesting.
unfortunately, that's the only thing that came to my mind.
That's really nice. That's really
I can
nice.
sing that way on high now.
But actually, that's not how I feel about it myself. I do it similar to what Rohini was saying. It's it's that experience of something higher that everyone is looking for. It's that the meaning of existence, and you connect with that through chanting. That's the power of the chanting. That's what. Because sometimes you can get too philosophical about things, and there are moments when you're talking about the Lord, where those rare moments where, what is that story? I was listening to Goswami Maharaj saying it recently. He said there was two. You could probably tell. There was two Vaishnavas discussing about Krishna, or three, and one of them says, "I feel the presence of a fourth or something." When they were discussing it. So.
Oh, please take a chair and make yourself comfortable. Okay.
Those rare moments, sometimes it manifests through Kirtan or through talking about the Lord, where you feel the presence of divinity.
Yeah.
And that can be through chanting or through discussions, but I think it's kind of more people resonate with the chanting, maybe, I think. So that's how I feel as well about the chanting. It's very touches
Who's
us.
the fight? Which was that?
Bhakti.
Very interesting.
Vishakha can elaborate more regarding that. That was his take on it.
Srila Saraswati Thakur's his point was that, there's the whole Mayic flow in this world.
Correct.
Actually, the meaning in the broadest sense, Kirtan means to glorify divinity. The root meaning of Kirtan is to praise, to glorify. And so that can actually take on different forms. That can be in the form of singing. That's how we normally conceive of it. But it also can be speaking. It can also be writing. Anything that is establishing that conception of divinity. Jai Dwarkesh Prabhu ki Jai.
Guru Maharaj disciple.
Where was I?
Yeah, so glorify any way.
Yes, and in fact, Srila Saraswati Thakur, he said that actually speaking is a more intense form of kirtan. It can be, because the point is it focuses your mind more. Because when you're singing, then your mind can wander. We have those moments where we're feeling deep inspiration, but it's also very easy for when you're chanting your japa, when you're participating, your mind can be somewhere completely different. Or sometimes you can be like saying the words, but you're a completely different place. But if you're going to speak about Krishna, then you have to really focus your mind.
Because it's interesting psychologically as well. When you actually talk, you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So when you're actually speaking,
Yeah.
you're so much in the present.
Yeah. And Saraswati Thakur, he also said that writing is even more of a focused expression of kirtan than speaking.
Right.
Because if you're writing, you have to put because if you're speaking, you can talk a little loosely, right? But if you're writing, like that's going to be down in black and white forever, and it can be held against you.
I think it's writing.
No, writing, yeah. If you're writing something, like if you're publishing something on Facebook, for example, like me, I'm preaching there sometimes, then I have to really be aware of consequences, and because if you say one word, and that happens to me, people challenge, you get some backlash, if people don't like what you said, or they find it challenging to their conception, so I have to be so careful about how I'm saying this, So writing, it is a very intense form of kirtan.
I suppose when we from the, the Kirtans and the bhajans of, Acharyas and these Vaishnavas. When I was saying to you that every time I read this, something happens, just because obviously they've written this. They must have written in a certain mood.
Yeah.
And you feel the mood. So writing, yeah, you're right, because they've written it, haven't they? So it must be, imagine...
Yeah, that is
they're
an
writing
expression of
this.
kirtan.
It must be profound, like there must be a very different spiritual plane when you write something like this.
Yeah, I mean, really, the way I see these songs is not like writing, but it's actually like their heart expression,
Yeah.
right?
It's just expression of...
Yeah, and it's taking the form of words and
Words,
letters,
correct,
but
yeah.
it transcends all of that actually.
So this is also Kirtan.
Absolutely, yeah. So then about the fight comments, Srila Saraswati Thakur's point was that, there's the whole Mayic flow going in one direction. And when we're coming with glorification of the Lord, that's challenging.
That conception.
Yeah.
That status quo.
Yeah. The status quo, yeah. People are living in their self-centered, egocentric worlds, and then you're coming like, like, knock, knock. This is all wrong.
I was going on the High Street.
Sometimes people do.
Everyone's out doing Christmas shopping, right?
Yeah.
And thinking about, what they want and what they want to give to others within the world of their mind and senses. And then we're coming and say, hey, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we exist to serve Him and love Him and nothing else. He's the center, nobody else. That's a fight, that's a challenge. It's creating some friction. Yeah.
It also reflects Saraswati Thakur's moods, the way he was...
Yes, absolutely. He had the mood of a fighter, Srila Saraswati Thakur.
He didn't just, it wasn't I know what you mean.
He very much had that. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had more of a accommodating, harmonizing spirit. But Saraswati Thakur, his mood was like a fighter. He has that extreme expression. It was Goswami Maharaj's. It's in one of the captions of, I think, Search for Shri Krishna, under Saraswati Thakur's picture, that he declared totalitarian war against all conceptions of Maya, and not only Maya, but all other religious conceptions. He declared totalitarian. And when he showed that to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj, because he'd written it, he was hesitating on what Srila Sridhar Maharaj could say. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, if you didn't say anything else about him and only this, it would be perfect. That so perfectly represents his mood. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said that he had an uncle or some relative who was a guru. And as a boy, like before he met Saraswati Thakur, he remembered, I think he was overhearing his uncle talking about Saraswati Thakur like he's like this threat now to all of us. And because he was challenging all these different groups who were acting in the name of Mahaprabhu, but actually misrepresenting Mahaprabhu. So Saraswati Thakur was challenging all of them. And this relative, he compared Saraswati Thakur to a bull who was like he had like one hoof forward, like showing he's ready for a fight, like a bull in that posture of like attack or defense, like he's ready for a fight, like that. So that was really his mood. And I like very much what you were saying. Nitai was saying, and Virchandra also, on this point, that Kirtan has this power to attract the Lord. He is attracted by that. He is, we are so limited by our mundane conditioning, but in the plane of the absolute, the name and the names, they're non-different. So the Lord is considered to be non-different from His name. And so the more that we're able to chant with the proper mood, then the more the Lord is actually present in that kirtan. He will be attracted. He will descend there. And there's, and then there's kirtan, and then there's sankirtan. You can perform kirtan alone, but especially for us, the conditioned souls, there's more power, more potency in performing Sankirtan within a group. That's particularly what Mahaprabhu has given, emphasis on and his backing to in that first verse of Shikshashtakam, the last verse, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. He doesn't say Kirtan there actually, he says Sankirtan. May this Krishna Sankirtan be supremely victorious over everything else. So, in the absolute sense, then Nam Bhajan, service of the name, has the highest position, and it's the highest type of service, and actually, someone who's actually qualified to do Nam Bhajan, real service of the name, they can sit in a cave and do that. But you have to actually be qualified for that, and for us, we're not able to do that, So especially for us, Sankirtan is more helpful. And just if we're speaking about our feeling, I can say for myself, when you're in a congregation and everyone's heart is coming out, you feel that power, we really feel that. We don't want to put too much emphasis on what we feel, but we feel it. We can't deny it. There's some, and as you're saying, you've all been saying, it's an indescribable thing. And it's something that takes you beyond the realm of your intellect, and it's a potency that you can't deny. And another way we can conceive of Sankirtan is like in a very broad sense of, if we conceive that our mission exists to glorify the name of Krishna and Mahaprabhu, which really that is what it's for, then Sankirtan is being able to, in a united way, in a harmonious way, serve together. That's Sankirtan, different devotees, different practitioners coming together and being able to serve together in their we can say, this temple, what is this temple really existing for? For spreading the glories of Mahaprabhu, for the purpose of Kirtan. And so all the different services, the cooking and the cleaning and the puja and everything else, they're all combining to support that main purpose of Kirtan, of distributing the glories of Mahaprabhu and Krishna. And so real Sankirtan is for a congregation, for a community, to be able to come together and perform their different services in a harmonious way. In a broad sense, we can conceive of Sankirtan in that sense. This temple exists for the purpose of Kirtan. That's the primary purpose. And all these other services, they're in service to that, that higher purpose. And then these principles of Trinada Pisunichena, right? Humility, tolerance, and respect, they're so necessary, Otherwise, it won't be possible to, in a united way, to harmoniously serve together in this attempt to do Kirtan. So those things become very, very important.
Probably if you do Kirtan, then first I'm trying to be humble, that actually would be fasting.
You're absolutely right. That is another approach.
We don't do that much, that's why we don't progress.
Yeah, this is an interesting point. And I had some discussion. You can look on Facebook. I had this long discussion with Noel Kishore. Do you know Noel Kishore? Maybe you met him in India. But he's quite fanatic on this point. And the conclusion we came to actually is the reason Gurudev put more emphasis, because that verse, Trinada Pisunichena, Chori Vasahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, often we translate it as saying, one who is more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, and who can give honor to others without expecting in return, they are qualified to chant the holy name of Krishna, right? First you have to have these qualities, and then you can have that. So generally, we talk about it like that, and we saw Gurudev mostly emphasized it that way. But actually, the verse is not saying that. the verse is completely, the Sanskrit is all in the imperative. So what it actually says is that the holy name of Krishna must always be chanted with humility, with tolerance, and with respect. And you see, like there's a place in Revealed Truth, there's a place there where that's how Gurudev is talking about the verse, that we should always chant the name of Krishna with humility. He speaks about it in that way. But the conclusion we came to is that the reason Gurudev, put more emphasis on the other part, humility, tolerance, and respect, is because generally, we don't have that much faith in Kirtan. There isn't that, I'm speaking to you guys and you're really passionate about Kirtan, but on the whole, many practitioners, they don't feel that inspiration. So if you tell them do Kirtan and everything else will follow, that doesn't resonate. That doesn't mean so much. I can say for myself, maybe you were inspired by Kirtan from the beginning, but for me it wasn't like that. It was actually after Gurudev left, and it was because of Acharya Maharaj actually, because we had to do these, I never had any interest in Kirtan, never. I wanted to serve Gurudev. I was inspired by that, and Kirtan didn't really mean anything to me. But it was after Gurudev left, and Acharya Maharaj had these daily programs, and you had to sit there, and he went through the whole program morning and evening. So, you had no choice. You had to go through all the songs. So then, having to do that day after day, then some taste started to awaken in me. And now I'm totally passionate about Kirtan. I'm all about Kirtan. But I can remember previously having zero interest at all, So, but what you're saying is an important point. And actually, that verse, you can also read it in the other way. As you can emphasize humility, tolerance, and respect equals Kirtan, you can also say Kirtan equals humility, tolerance, and respect. And there's one article of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur where he discusses in that way, saying that it works both ways. But in this article he speaks about it in that way, saying that we will only be able to be humble, tolerant, and respectful if we're really sincere about wanting to do Kirtan. I'm here really because I want to glorify the name. Then I can set aside my ego. Then I can accommodate these other devotees. I'm really here for this purpose. I'm not here to establish myself. So if necessary, in the course of my trying to glorify the holy name of Krishna, I can set aside my ego, I can give honor to others as they need, I can tolerate, I can be humble, etc., etc. So it can also be seen from that perspective. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, please.
When I thought about that verse a few weeks ago, to me it seemed to be, one way of it was to be more humble than the blade of grass. So that seems to me like you've realised that you're self-realised. You've realised your soul. And water on the tree seems to mean you're self-controlled. And giving respect to others, you're not envious, and they don't give it to you, you don't get angry. So that's the way out of the verse. So that first one, it seems to me like you've realised, you've become self-realised, you've realised you are insignificant. So whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but that's the way I read it.
Yeah, very nice. And another point about Gurudev, which I also discussed with Noel Kishore Prabhu, is that because the main danger in our spiritual life is Vaishnava aparad, right? To have envy of a Vaishnav, to wish badly for a Vaishnav. This is the only serious danger of our spiritual lives. And so therefore, these teachings, humility, tolerance, and respect, they protect us from making Vaishnava aparad. So we can also understand that as a primary reason why Gurudev emphasized that point so much. And Gurudev says that in Revealed Truth. There's a place. It was in Sokel, where he says, "This is my main instruction. This is my main teaching to the Western world. That try. How does he say it? I'll try to find it actually. But avoid Vaishnava Aparad and chant the holy name of Krishna by following these 3 points." Something like that. He says it in some way like that. So that's another consideration too. Because somebody may have real inspiration for kirtan, but if they commit aparad, to a Vaishnav, then, it's over, Anyway. What are you thinking?
I was remembering something, trying to remember, because I always forget things. I don't know where I read them, but I just remember things. But there's something I was reading about trying to do anything you do, kirtan or whatever, any service, let's say. Service meaning trying to make him happy to someone. Yeah, in this case, you're trying to make happy God. That's service, what I was saying about services. But in terms of kirtan, for instance, if you go to this with this attitude of, what's it called, when you feign, when you are trying to get some pratishta, what's it called?
Pratishta.
Pratishta thing.
Yeah.
Well, I find it quite interesting, just because we have heard a lot of times pratishta thing and all that stuff, but what actually means is like, when you literally, have you ever played football and then when you were as a child and then you wanted to be the goalkeeper and then someone gave it to, you are the goalkeeper, so you feel like, I am the best goalkeeper, and then they say, no, you are the goalkeeper. Then you feel like something. Like have you ever felt that kind of thing?
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure you all.
This is the human condition.
Yeah, you all have felt that.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I haven't. I don't know what it is.
This is called This is called envy.
Well,
Envy is our disease, our main disease.
this is the cool thing. When you feel the same thing about that particular situation, but when it comes to a spiritual activity, that means you have to do some work to correct it straight away. Because then that is not going to allow you to the kirtan to happen. And then I found it really strong because I have felt it, and I said, wow, it's like, that's actually the element. If you feel that, try and do some work on that. Because that's the actual thing that is not allowing you to enjoy. Yeah, we enjoy it, or to flow, or to connect, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trivi Kurmash talks about that. And he'll say, like, I have to make a cure for my envy. Like if I'm envious of a devotee, I immediately have to glorify them. It's the cure for my envy.
But in the book, or these words, what they were saying is that is a symptom of recognition or fame or pratishta. That's the definition of pratishta in exemplifying or how it happens. So the symptom of having this wanting to be recognized of a particular thing reflects in that way in your heart, like a little kind of kick, that you feel for someone. So that is the definition of pratishta. Actually, it's very simple. In an example, when you feel that, it means you are aspiring to have some recognition, and you cannot tolerate that what you want to, or you think you are the best at doing is given to someone else.
Yeah.
So.
No, very nice. Yeah. Well, we had really nice discussion.
Yeah, those two young sannyasis who came through last year. I can't remember their names.
Shanti
Yeah.
Maharaj, yeah.
And they gave a class and they said, only Guru can make you humble. So,
Only Guru can make you humble.
yeah, it's like our own attempts to be humble. Only Guru can cure that. That's what they were saying.
Of course, we are completely dependent on grace. Definitely. Absolutely. And Guru, it is also the grace of Guru that will give us this type of revelation that I'm experiencing envy right now. That's Guru's grace. To have that recognition.
You can ask for Guru's help when you have those feelings. I mean, I was saying to you, when I read these beautiful songs, it's just something, so they are actually like your grace. They're guiding through these songs.
Yeah.
And you just...
Yeah. This, this prayer, Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshormilitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. It's saying, like, I'm in darkness. I cannot see. I have cataracts on my eyes. But Guru is coming and removing those cataracts and giving me vision. And so in one place, Srila Sridhar Maharaj references that verse, and he says that it is the grace of, he says the eye to detect our own defects is our greatest wealth. He says it like that. It's in one of the sermons books. The eye to detect our own faults is our greatest wealth. And that comes through the grace of Guru. Guru is giving that vision. Guru is giving that clarity. Oh, that's a symptom of grace. To be able to look and feel within ourselves, oh, I'm envious of that person. That's Guru's grace that's allowing us to have that vision, to have that clarity, and then to try to rectify that.
And you're placed in the circumstances, in the environment where the whole environment will be helping you to get rid of that. You want it to not, like you get the capacity to recognize your something what you need to change, and then you can't change it. But then the environment will be arranged in such a way that it will force you to, it will give you some help. It might not be the most pleasant thing to go through, but it helps. So in that sense, it's like internal, external. You always reflect on your position, your situation internally, and then the environment, in a way, it helps you.
Do you think compassion for others helps that?
Absolutely. Yeah. This point of tolerance, there's an article of Srila Bhakti Thakur, and he equates tolerance with compassion. And when I read that was revolutionary for me. That helped me so much. If you have compassion for someone, you understand what they're going through, where they're coming from, what type of suffering, what trauma they're holding, then it's a lot easier to tolerate.
That's my problem.
To affection.
I'm struggling so much with myself, I can't see in others to be compassionate. You know what I'm saying? And so, I can't reach into other people and see what their situation is. I just see very superficially.
When this thing happened on London Bridge a couple of days ago. So we were all discussing, and I was just thinking that, the compassion, everyone was so upset, but I was thinking in the sense that, what gunas are playing within this man, and really, he must be really suffering to be thinking to harm others, what his mindset is. People were calling him evil, and I was thinking, he's suffering, he really is, because to do something like that, it's not necessarily that you're an evil person. Maybe you're just suffering. You're just your identification, the way you are, and how the gunas are playing, isn't it? Because gunas play a very, very, very important role. We don't realize them. So which plane? What gunas? And I think Krishna explains it very well, isn't it? The gunas control us more or less. So is it, the prakriti, the whole thing is be controlled. And so if it's very hard to bring compassion, but when somebody does something like that, but if you think, that's the way I think. I was saying to, friends, I say, he must be suffering, he must be really a sad person to do
Like a
something
lost
like that.
child.
Lost child. So what do you do when somebody does something like that? You say he's evil, or you say, how you deal with that?
There's an absolute. That's like an absolute way of thinking, isn't it? But then there's also a practical way of thinking.
Yeah.
No, but
Because you have to feel that passion,
Yeah.
but then you have to stop them at the same time.
But there's law there, isn't it? So your
Yeah.
practical life, you have to follow the law. So that takes care of that.
Sure.
But it's the intention you are
Yeah.
projecting.
Yeah, sure. Inside.
It's very hard sometimes.
What? To be compassionate?
No, it's some people do some evil stuff and you think about, if you want to call, then,
The thing is, everyone wants people to be compassionate towards them.
yeah.
Everyone.
I'm
I'm hurt right now. Do you not see I'm hurt?
I'm never at fault.
But the day we can start being compassionate towards other people, then we can really understand what compassion is. We're too fixed on trying to understand compassion through our own pain. I want someone to be compassionate to me. Why are you not acknowledging my pain right now? Do you not see how hurt I am?
It's called empathy.
Yeah,
When
we
you
want
actually
that.
start developing empathy for others, just feel the compassion. I
We
think.
want that, but when we start to recognize people's experiences
You
that
can
have,
relate.
that have led them to that point,
You can relate to them.
you have to get to a point where surely, at some point you have to get to a point where you go, oh, actually, this person is in so much pain, they don't know any other way how to express it. And it's actually a fault in me that I didn't even acknowledge that person's pain. And then you can start working on compassion. It's our fault that we can't be acknowledging other people's pain sooner. It's not their fault. We should be able to pick up on people's suffering.
Sorry, the reason I'm laughing is like in relations in real life, somebody says something to you, the whole compassion just goes out of the window. How dare you say that to me? Like,
Or when we're
why did
humiliated.
you didn't put the washing out? The whole thing goes anyway, it's mundane stuff.
And we shouldn't underestimate the power of prayer.
Oh yes. Oh, yes.
Like, we can pray to Gurudev, please adjust my heart.
Yes, very true.
Please adjust my heart and give me the proper vision.
That's so true what you said about being able to pick up on your own faults is the greatest wealth, or one of the greatest wealths you can possibly have.
Can I say something very sort of controversial?
Please.
I would say that when you said about Gurudev, I can even maybe say that, Lord Krishna, I don't know you, but I know them.
That's 100%
So,
right.
so for me, I maybe I'll go one day go to Golok Vrindavan. I don't know. I probably never will. But anyway, the chances are probably never will. But I said I don't know you, but I know you. I know
Jai,
them.
Haribo. That's an expression of someone who's really on the path. That's beautiful.
So for me, it's that when I pray, I just think of them. As
Yeah,
my source,
absolutely. Yeah, that's
source of hope.
beautiful.
So I take everything. So everyone the other day was saying, someone was saying to me, oh, these are all stories and this and that, like about Krishna stories, and they're all they're not scientific, and they're this and that. I said, well, my Gurudev says so. That's enough for me. So I don't need any more conviction.
But the Kirtan is like, in a sense, an expression of compassion to other people, because you are extending the grace of your Guru. He passes on you something, and then you exclude yourself from, like, you're not trying to become spiritual progress or like building up your spiritual muscles, but you self-sacrifice yourself for others, for all those who will have a chance to get in connection with it. So you withdraw your personal interest, and simply by helping your Guru to extend that grace, that's the greatest expression of compassion to all others, because you can start feeding them, or you can start doing something what they would recognize as good, but it wouldn't mean that's actually good for them.
Actually, I used to believe that, but then I realized it was all a lie, because all I wanted is to please myself with the Kirtan. I was thinking, I want to do it for the benefit of all of us, and then I realized, actually,
I enjoy it. That's what I'm going to do.
Everyone who is dying together, they don't give a toast. I actually made it.
But we got to start from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, what Ramananda
It's true, it is true.
Yeah.
But more like in practical levels, like
Yeah.
I don't have that
Yeah.
level of sacrifice,
I think
because
both
like
is
I'm
right.
trying to help myself out, like I need just first.
Yeah.
Let me help
for
myself first.
myself.
Yeah.
It's
No,
true.
absolutely. No, I mean, what Ramananda said is 100% right. But at the same time, we have to be careful not to imitate that kind of mood. Like, do we really have that kind of feeling?
Yeah.
No.
It's like ideal. That's
The ideal.
Exactly.
This is Bhakti Vinod Thakur's in this beautiful song Kabe Habe Bolo. When will there be an awakening of compassion for all fallen souls? And when will this Bhakti Vinod, forgetting his own happiness, with a meek heart, set out to propagate by humble entreaty the sacred order of Sri Chaitanya Prabhu?
Yeah, but when he was when will I be compassionate? He is like trying to say, when will I be delivering that? I mean, when will I be me, the message from God to them? It's like because he's not compassionate. Because you say you want to be compassionate. How can you be compassionate? Well, I didn't get the point.
I'm not compassionate.
Yeah, but how can you?
Selfish,
You just say
angry,
something, isn't it?
and all the rest, you can imagine. But in order to be humble, you have to be compassionate. You have to understand other people and their weaknesses and
Exactly.
all that stuff. And when they're acting a bit crazy or stuff, you have to just be loving and helping. I mean, not like a terrorist. Obviously, with the terrorist you have to make some differentiation. Okay, you've got to stop that.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because,
to be
because to
compassionate.
be compassionate means you have to love people.
Yeah, just to a human kind of relationship, isn't it? That's what you're trying to say, like.
Yeah, but it's like, I know that brings it down to a mundane level, but it's still, that's what I was saying.
That's compassion.
We're all like being compassionate. It's like compassion because we're all in the same boat, right? This is kunta, not like kunta. It's the place of fear. Everyone's acting in a particular way because they're afraid.
So to be compassionate, because this is why I just want to try to make a point with.
I mean, I'm not
Being
the person to
compassionate
ask.
when-
This is a person to ask.
No, I'm asking you what you say actually.
He's trying to clarify where you're coming from.
Because
Yeah.
what Didi just read is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur trying to be compassionate.
Yeah.
And you are also trying to be compassionate by understanding others. Well, you accept that you cannot be compassionate
Yeah.
because you cannot understand others. However, he's also trying to be compassionate. You are trying to be compassionate. But he's trying to be compassionate.
He answers the question about compassion. He says when I stop thinking about my own happiness. That's really hard to do. To stop thinking about your own happiness. Think about the other person's happiness. Think about what they're going through. That's hard.
I mean, it must mean you have to come to some sort of level of
Yes.
self-control.
Yes. It
Yes.
takes.
So that you're not controlled by the
100%.
senses, so that you can see with a clearer vision.
Control, yes. Yeah.
It will come, Prabhu.
It
Just
will
the,
come.
just the fact that you're contemplating this and you're having that desire,
Yeah.
By
It
your
will come.
grace.
like Gurudev's grace. Gurudev.
Gurudev's grace, I want it from you.
Okay. Any last comment from anybody, or should we stop there and have arti?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing up such a nice topic. That was like so magical, because like
Yeah.
you brought up the topic, and then like our three main kirtaniyas come in, and then everybody's like excited about it.
He always starts the fire, doesn't he?
That's my mood.
But it says that in the Bhagavad Gita that
Yeah.
my devotees, they enlighten one another by talking about. So by sharing, we're, you know.
Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. All these Samut Buddhis ki Jai. Is it time for arti, or is the offering like later?
I think I did hear Prabhu ring the bell a few times.
Is the offering going on?
Ramananda's going to find out.
Okay. Well, maybe we should do the last kirtan.
I know. Always.
So it's just going
We should turn off this camera.
Is it not working, the transmission? Some already on the
It
Facebook.
broke, yeah.